All right, everybody, so welcome back. So for this video, I'm going to be sharing my top 10 favorite board games. Now, we all like to share our favorite board games for sure. And I will, of course, really like to share my favorite games. But it's also sort of like a review as well, because we review what we like about the games. And some of these games, I haven't talked about in a long time because I haven't done any videos on them in quite some time. So it's nice to catch up with the games that I still play today and I still enjoy playing today, obviously, but I just haven't obviously talked about much. Now, I was going to do this last year, but a friend of mine moved away suddenly, right when I was going to do it, and ask him. Same friend I did it with 2 years ago. And then he said he was going to be back, like in a few months or something like that last year. And that didn't work out. So I waited a little longer. And sure enough, a year had gone by. And he's still not back yet. And I don't know when he'll be back. So, or if he'll come back for that matter. So I thought I'd do this now rather than wait another month or two to do it again. Even though it's been it's basically been 2 years, since last time, basically. So obviously my list has definitely changed quite a bit over the last 2 years. So this should be interesting. There's definitely new games to the list that weren't on my list last year or 2 years ago for that matter. So it should be quite interesting what I have to say about each one of these games. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started with my number 10. Now this is Cascadia. Cascadia is an extremely popular game today. There's a lot of people who love playing this game, and I'm no exception. It's simple and it's easy, and this is one of the few games I own that my folks will play. There's not very many games that they will play, and this is one of their favorites that they like to play. One of the very few, for sure, that they really enjoy playing. It's really hard to get them to play something new that is easy, and I have a lot of easy games, but it's really hard to get them to try something new and get into it. But this is something that they just always enjoy, so, it's a really good game, for sure. Getting to, lay out tiles and trying to, obviously, build each of the different habitats as big as you can. Of course, that's not always going to work, right? But you're competing with those habitats. The other players are trying to build their biggest habitat, and you just want to get those couple extra points for having the largest mountain and the longest river, and the biggest wetland and the biggest forest, and the biggest savanna and all that jazz. And then of course the animal placement is really interesting because even though we generally play the same cards, same scoring cards for each of the animals, there's a variety of different scoring cards. So there's a lot of replayability, of course, but it's just really fun even playing the same ones over and over again, especially for my folks, and the way they score, like pairs of bears, for instance, and getting to score 1 point for each different animal. Around foxes is fun, obviously, solitary hawks, and all that, and salmon run, and, straight line of elk and stuff like that. So now I haven't gotten the expansion for this yet, obviously. I haven't pre-ordered it yet either. So, but from what I've seen from the reviews, it's just sort of a mediocre expansion. It's for people who want to play a 5 or 6 player game of Cascadia, honestly, because it doesn't really add anything else. There's a couple of new concepts for sure, but it's not like it adds new animals. But regardless of the case, I still really love this game. It's still in my top 10, even without the expansion. And, if I got the expansion, it might even go down just because it just didn't seem as interesting. Cascadia landmarks didn't seem as interesting as I was hoping for, because honestly, we all want more animals when it comes to these animal games. And to make an expansion for Cascadia and not add even one new animal is... it's just not enough, right? But man, I still love Cascadia a lot. Still love this game a whole lot, and that's why it's in my top 10. Now, 2 years ago, it wasn't. It was in my top 20, but it wasn't my top 10. So it's definitely grown on me, and that's without any expansion additions either. So, good game. Doesn't really need an expansion? No. Unless, like I said, they add more animals to the game. Then, yes, I'm definitely getting the expansion if that's the case. So that's my number 10. So, what is my number 9? It is Above and Below, Red Raven Games, okay? So, this has gone down a little bit. 2 years ago, it was like my second favorite game. So now it's number 9. So it's obviously dropped over the years. It's kind of fluctuated over the years, kind of gone up and down, up and down. But I really still love this game a lot, obviously. It's still in my top 10. I love the storytelling aspect of it. I've gotten to play this quite a few times this year with my friends, and I've enjoyed each game of it. And so have they. Storytelling is just really fun. Obviously, the game mechanics are not the best. They're good enough to continue playing the game, but honestly, it's the story. I just love the random encounters. I really love the random encounters from this game. And I still have not experienced every single random encounter. Not that I would remember every single random encounter, but I do remember some as we encounter them again. But yeah, I just really love the world of Arzum, and this is definitely one of the best games in that fantasy world that Ryan Lockett has made for us. So definitely an awesome game. This is why it's still my top 10. Number 9, Above and Below. All right. So I've got a new game to the list for my number 8. Brand new to the list. Just came out this year. And that is The Lost Species, or Searching for Lost Species. Yeah, The Search for Lost Species. That's what it's called. So this is a deduction game. Now, I've played other deduction games, but this is a really interesting deduction game. It's by Renegade Studios, and I don't have a lot of games from that publishing company, Renegade, but this is definitely my favorite from the publisher for sure. Now, I haven't played the first one that was part of this kind of the Search for Planet X. I never played that. But a friend of mine is getting that one, so I'm sure I'll get to play it one of these days. But this game is definitely really fun. It works with an app, so you have to have an app to play it, or you can kind of play on somebody else's app too if you don't want to download the app. So that's kind of nice. And then you are going to have a bunch of basically of animals that you can play with. You only play with one of the lost species that you're searching for, but there's 6 different animals you're looking for, and they each have their own logic rules, okay? Like this animal is never going to be next to this animal over here. So while you're searching for one species in particular, you're also looking for the other animals that are around it, that are in every game. The couscous, the toad, the lorikeets, for instance, and the python. You're looking for all of those animals in this game, and because you need to know where they are to help you track down where this one is, or whatever happens to be the lost species that you're playing with, right? And there's 2 different boards. I mean, it's a double-sided board, so that adds more replayability to the game, besides the fact that you can also play with 6 different animals, that you only have one of each of the 6 in each game. So that's really cool too. Man, I just love this game. It's a lot of fun. We've played this game with my friends several times already this year, probably 4 or 5 times now, which is pretty good considering. So that's why this game is my number 8. It's super fun, super enjoyable. It works with an app, which honestly, it's like one of the few games that I have to play with that requires an app. You know, it's one of those few games out there for sure. There's not very many games I own that require an app, and this is definitely one of them, but it's totally worth it. Super fun. And obviously, it's not always going to be in the same place twice. Even if you play on the same map and you play with the same animal, it's never going to be in the same hex on the map twice. Trust me, I've tried. So, that's The Search for Lost Species. Okay, so what is my number 7? My number 7 is EOS The First Continent. Now, this is my favorite game from Alderac Entertainment Group. Favorite game. Favorite AEG game. Now, this has been on my list for like ever since I got it, and it's been a while. You're trying to build a continent in this game. That's really cool. There's animals involved. I love the expansion for this because the expansion adds animals. Okay? It adds crocodile. Oh, nice. Well, yeah, just awesome. New Horizons is the expansion for this game. I love the expansion. It adds animals, and you can't go wrong with that. Obviously the crocodile for that matter. But yes, animals, you're placing out animals according to the cards that you have. You're not always going to be able to place out whatever animal you want. There's some strategy in where you place animals, where you place trees, mountains, and then you can score points based on what cards you have, based on those things where they are located. There's a lot of valid strategies to this game. You could, for instance, go the antelope route and get lots of points for having a huge grouping of antelope, and moving them around and stuff like that can score you points too, based on what cards you have. But then your opponent has a lion, and then he's like, thank you for putting all those antelope out, because I'm going to place this lion here, and this lion's going to come and eat all your antelope, and I'm going to score a ton of points doing that. Same thing if you have a lot of animals in the water, and somebody gets the shark, then the shark comes along and eats all the prey in the ocean. Same thing, but the thing about it is, those animals, once you place them, aren't really yours anymore. You're just placing them out. So you don't feel so horrible if somebody comes along and eats the antelope, because they're not your antelope anymore. They're just on the continent. You placed them there. Okay, you already got your points for the antelope, unless you were planning on playing more antelope to score even more points, right? But you already got your points. And so then someone comes along and takes advantage of what you did to score a ton of points, which is interesting. So there's a lot of interaction going on. Even though nothing is really yours once you place it, it's still a lot of fun seeing all the different possibilities of what could happen. Scoring possibilities, or just simply groupings of animals, groupings of trees, that kind of stuff. Being able to split a continent into 2 separate continents. There's so many possibilities with this game. Just that alone is fun. And of course, you, as the Harbinger, if you're the Harbinger player, you get to pull the stones out of the bag that provide these elements that are on your cards. And then you get to put little cubes down. So it's simultaneous too. So everyone's simultaneously doing that. So there's less downtime in the game. But then, and then you get to fulfill one of the cards by calling up EOS and getting to do what it says if you put down all the cubes on the elements as a person, draws stones from the bag. And everybody is going to get a chance to be Harbinger at some point in the game. So that's really fun. It's going to be fun taking those stones out of the bag randomly. It's going to be, of course, you're going to be hurting yourself when you pull out a stone out of the bag and it doesn't have anything for you. That's going to happen a lot, but it's going to help somebody probably. So it's just a super fun game. EOS The First Continent. It's definitely worth trying if you haven't already, and it's an extremely fun game for sure. Still has a lot going on with it, and obviously lots of cards still I haven't played with, for that matter. So EOS The First Continent, lots of strategies. Anybody can potentially win. Anybody, any strategy, even the guerrilla strategy, which is a lot harder to win with. Granted, the guerrilla strategy that you could potentially start with, but if you play it just right, you could win with that too. And it's very satisfying if you win with the guerrillas. Very satisfying. So that is my number 7 most favorite game. Okay, my number 6. Now, it was higher on my list last year, and it's gone down a little bit, but it's new to the list, as in it wasn't on my list 2 years ago for sure. And that is Lands of Galzier. Now, this is fully a storytelling-driven game. Okay, it's above and below has some other mechanisms going for it. It's like half story, half not, right? This is like 90% storytelling. And I absolutely love the storytelling of this game. So it's not really as gamey as some of my other games for sure, but it's like reading a book with dice involved. It's so much fun, and I've gotten to play this with at least one of my friends this year. We've played it quite a bit, him and I, and he's gotten to see how his character has kind of gone through with the story of what he's experienced, and I've gotten to do it, and we've seen how our role in this world of Galazier has kind of changed a few things here and there. Yeah, things will change. Your board have these cards on it that you put down that are like for the towns, all the different towns you can go to. And the reason why it's cards and not like printed on the board is because, well, seasons change for one thing. So when the seasons change, you need to be able to switch the cards to the snow side when it's December and other various months of the year, right? But something you do in the story could change a location in the town. So that's the thing. Something you do will basically change the world you're doing. A war could even take place. You could start a war, or sort of accidentally start a war, I should say, or something like that. Things could change for sure. So there's a lot of going on with this game story-wise. It's very immersive, and it's not campaign. You can play this with a friend, and then that friend can't get together with you for a long time, and then you can introduce this to another friend as long as he doesn't play the character, the animal character that the other friend was playing. But if he chooses another one, you could play with him, and it wouldn't matter that it's his first time and it's your fifth time. It wouldn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It's just super fun, and I like that. I like that it's not campaign, because I'm not a huge fan of campaign games. So that's Lands of Galazier. Obviously, it's beautiful. You've got a beautiful board. I love the artwork on the cards, obviously. Just super fun. I really love Lands of Galazier still, and that's why it's on my number 6. Boy, is this a heavy box. Whew. Okay, so just a brief intermission while I move games around and try to get my voice back. For some reason, it's gone. I can't talk for long periods of time without it disappearing. Okay. I'll bring myself up to the camera for this one because it is a smaller one. So, my number 5 most favorite game, which has been on the list for a long time. It's gone down a little bit, I think, but it's still in my top 5, and that is Deep Vents. Many people do not like this game. There's not very many people that like this game. The Dice Tower crew. I don't think anybody in the Dice Tower crew that's played it anyway likes this game. Now, why is that? Why do people not like this game? Well, the iconography. It's got iconography in the game quite a bit. Now, lots of games have iconography. That can't be the only reason why they don't like it. However, the iconography does take time to learn. That's the main reason, right? Because it's going to take you a few games to really understand the iconography in the game. Sorry. But I did make a video explaining the iconography of how it works. So that should help for those who really want to learn this game. I would refer to that video of mine. Okay, Deep Vents iconography, I believe I called it. So you can find it somewhere in my channel. But I really love this game. This is an amazing game. If you can, it's a diamond in the rough. It's that little diamond that's in that stone that looks ugly on the outside, and that you have to really break open, really work hard at it to find it. But then once you find it, you realize it's the most beautiful diamond you've ever seen. That's what this game is. Because once you learn and understand the iconography of the game, you'll see that this game is full of strategy, but it's also about balance. It's not just simply grabbing the tiles that work well with your potential strategy, but it's balance, and it's really about building an ecosystem. While there's a lot of attacking going on, it's not nearly as much of attacking. It's not really as nasty as everyone says it is. That's the other reason why they don't like it, is because they consider it a nasty game. But I've seen games that are way nastier than this that are appraised quite highly. No, this one, it's all about balance, and it's key. It's key. And It's about building the ecosystem that you're trying to build. Certain things will do better next to other certain things. You got to know what really goes well with something else. And sometimes you can't place it next to something that you definitely would like to increase its strength, basically. But that's what this game is about. It's all about strategy and balance, and obviously placing tiles in certain locations next to other certain tiles with, certain animals or certain types of geology down there, like the different types of vents and things, But yeah, that's what I love about this game. It's not about the attacking to me. It's about placing out the tiles in a very strategic balance. And, this game, as they say, has a lot of depth to it. Or should I say, as I say, because it is in the depths of the ocean. And it definitely has a lot of depth for more ways than one, for sure. So this is something worth trying if you haven't already. So that's my fourth favorite game, Deep Fence. Still an amazing game in my eyes. Still a wonderful game. Best, smallest game I've ever played. So let's move on. Okay. So the next game on my list is new to the list. New to the list. It wasn't my list last year because I didn't have it last year. So it's a brand new game, again, another one. So let's show it. And that is Life of the Amazonia. Now, this is an amazing game. Where do I start? There's just so many things I like about this game. Well, let's talk about something that comes in the retail box. The boats. The boats are not only cool to look at, but they're functional. They're a great place to put your coins down. They act as a discard pile for all of your coins. So you put them in the boat. It's a good place to store them so they're not sprawled out on the table. And then it's a bag building game. So when your bag is empty, you need to basically fill in your bag, just like you would if you're going to shuffle a deck and you're playing a deck building game. But if they were all sprawled out on the table, it would take more time to gather them all up and put them in a bag. But the fact that since they're sitting in a discard pile boat, it's very easy to dump them from the boat and into the bag. It's an amazing thing. That's one of the main things that I like about this game. Obviously, it's a bag building game. I love this game. I love the bag building. I love it. I love the system, bag building mechanic. It's amazing. There's not very many bag building games I've played, but this is definitely the best bag building game I've ever played. Obviously, you're building an ecosystem. The animal meeples are amazing. And obviously, you're going to score them based on where you put them into what habitat, how many animals of that type, or how many animals around that animal, or how many trees or how many water flowers are in that location are going to score you points based on what scoring cards you're playing with. And you always have the same animals in the game. Okay, you always have the same ones, but then you also have an animal that you only have that's unique to your ecosystem. Of course, I wouldn't mind having more of those, but you're always going to have one in your ecosystem that's unique to your jungle, unique to your Amazonia location. So it's so beautiful. It's so fun. It's so fun putting your ecosystem together, for sure. It's definitely a more advanced version of Cascadia. Cascadia is definitely more family oriented. This one is probably not. I wouldn't say this is a family game because there's a lot more going on with it, for sure. But it's definitely a more advanced, spectacular, deluxe version of Cascadia, for sure. So if you like Cascadia and you haven't played this and you wish Cascadia had a little bit more depth to it, this is the game for you. My number 4, Life of the Amazonia. Okay. Hopefully that won't fall. I'm trying to get my voice back. So my third favorite game has definitely gone up on my list. It's been in my top 10 for a while now, but it's gone up. And it's a heavy game, so don't expect me to hold on to it for a long period of time because it's probably the most heaviest game physically and, well, You'll see. Empires of the Void 2. Man, this is extremely heavy. It's a Red Raven game. It's my most favorite Red Raven game. Yes, I like it more than Above and Below, more than Deep Fence. This is not in the world of Arzum, like Above and Below is, but it's in space, and you've got aliens. Not only do you have aliens that you can play as, and one human, okay? One human faction, player, whatever you want to call it. But there's aliens that you can, meet. You can befriend. You can attack and then befriend. You do both. And there's so many of them. And yes, there's an alien race that looks like reptiles. And there's an alien race that looks like frogs that you can play as. But it's not just the frog people that I like. I like playing with all the other ones, except for the humans. I like playing with the parasites of Screech and the oracles of Zun. Even the legions of Decima are pretty fascinating. And then all of the alien races, even though they're all different from each other, and I definitely have favorites, there are some that are really cool and interesting, but they're all really cool and interesting. It's just fascinating. So much to do in this game. There's exploration involved, obviously. You can deliver stuff around the board. Obviously, you can attack other worlds, attack other players. You can complete missions, doing a variety of different things. Missions can be just about anything. There's so many different missions. There's some that are basically the same to other missions, but then there's missions that are completely different and unique to the situation. And they're all different for each of the planets. Then you've got these events that take place on a planet. And you're playing with, if you're only playing a 2-player game, you're still playing with 5 different planets. That means 5 different events that will happen randomly throughout the game. Some good, some not so good, some really bad. That you need to obviously deal with, if you can. And there's just so much going on with it. Now, it's not a storytelling game by any means, okay? This is not a storytelling game. But it has enough flavor text on the cards that you really feel like it is a somewhat of a story to it, for sure. And each time you play, it may not even be the same story, especially with all the different events there are. There are 5 different events for each planet, okay? I have not played with every single event. That just goes to show you how much replayability it has. Now, here's the cool thing. This is another reason why this game has made it to my number 3. I have a computer now, and it's available on Steam. You can play this on Steam. You can learn this game on Steam. It's got a tutorial that basically forces you to do this and do that in the game. But you play the entire game that way. And this is how you learn the game. And, that tutorial on Steam that I played for this game, it was amazing. There was a couple of things that I didn't really fully grasp and fully understand, several actually, that the tutorial helped me understand, and now I can play this game obviously even better because I understand more rules that I didn't completely grasp from the rule book. So it's just an amazing game. I've gotten to play this game. I've introduced Empires of the Void 2 finally to several friends this year. So that's another reason why I went up on the list, because I finally got to play and introduce this game to so many of my friends. Some of them liked it, some of them not so much. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. But still, it's an amazing game. So much fun, so much to do. I just love this game. Empires of the Void 2, Red Raven Games, Ryan Lockett, best game I've ever played from him. Cool. So that was my number 3. Okay, so we're gonna move some stuff around. Otherwise, I'm gonna have some issues. So that stuff's gonna start falling. Okay, my second favorite game. Used to be my favorite game. 2 years ago, it was my most favorite game. Last year, that changed. Last year, it changed. And this year, well, it's still my second favorite game. And that is Everdale. Now, I obviously have talked about this quite a bit over the years. We've gotten expansions. Everdale Far Shore came out this year, which is its own game. So as such, it's in my list, but it didn't make it to my top 10. It just barely made it to my top 20, Everdale Far Shore. But Everdale is still better in my eyes. This is such an amazing game. Now, that's also because I'm including all the expansions, Spirecrest, for instance, Mistwood, and New Leaf, for instance. Those expansions, obviously there's a couple others. But man, I just love Everdale. Everdale is such an amazing game. I love the artwork. Andrew Bosley did the artwork for the game, on the cards, the box, etc. It's such an amazing game. There's so much to do. There's so many cards to play. I like a lot of the cards, but even if I don't get all of my favorite cards, I still really have a fun time building my town with this game. And the expansions, especially Spirecrest, add so much more immersive stuff to do in the game. It's an amazing game. That's why it's still in my top 10. That's why it's my second favorite game. I love Animal Folk. I really do. I love this world of Everdale. I even liked, obviously, Everdale Far Shore a lot, just not as much as, obviously, this one. But man, I just love Everdale. It's an amazing game. I love this game. So let's move on to my last game. My last game. My most favorite game. Okay? It was my most favorite game last year. Of course, I didn't make a video last year. And that is, and it's so technically it's new to the list because I didn't have it 2 years ago. And that is Ark Nova. My most favorite game. This is popular. A lot of people like this game, for sure. Well, a lot of people like Everdale, too. I'm not going to hold it up too much, because it's heavy. Because I added a whole bunch of stuff to it to make it better, because it is my most favorite game. Now, this is a zoo building game, if you don't know. And I really love going to the zoo. I volunteer at a zoo. So I love being in that environment. Building a zoo, and there's so many cards in Ark Nova that you can be the only player that has the giraffe. But then that player over there, he's the only player that's got the elephant. And that player over there, he's the only one that's got the tiger. So there's so many animals in this game that even though I can't possibly get every single animal I want, like I really wanted that Komodo dragon. But player 2 over there, he's got the Komodo dragon, and I really wanted it. But you know what? I got the Nile crocodile. So I'm satisfied. I'm happy. There's so many games, so many animals in this game. It's such an amazing game. Building a zoo, obviously, you've got a board and you're placing out tiles, enclosures, and then you're going to obviously spend money to put animals in those enclosures. There's lots of abilities that go with the animals, and I like that a lot too. Obviously, I like the iconography is, for me it's easy, and a lot of people don't mind it in this game because it's easy to understand the iconography for this game. But yeah, collecting icons is a valid strategy because there's so many things that you need the different icons for to get conservation points, because you need more than just appeal, which is the average scoring thing. You need to get conservation and you need to get appeal, so that way you're collecting them and eventually they go around the board and they see each other and pass each other by, so you can score points that way. It's an amazing game. So much going on with this game, for sure. It's probably the most complex game that I've played. Now, my friends have just started getting back into this game. They played it last year, but only like once, so it's like they had to relearn the game because there's a lot going on with this game. But I'm starting to get this game back to the table. My friends are starting to get back into this game. They're starting to learn it. And I think we're going to stick with this one for quite some time because I do have the Marine Worlds expansion. So they're playing with it, with that already. Most aspects of that, obviously. Now, Marine Worlds, 10 out of 10. Best expansion ever. Once again, they add more animals. Cascadia, Landmarks, did not add more animals. EOS The First Continent, New Horizon, added more animals. Ark Nova, Marine Worlds, added more animals for an expansion. You can't go wrong, like I said. So Cascadia, that's what Cascadia needs to do. It needs an expansion with more animals. But if it doesn't, it's still going to probably be pretty high on my list. But Ark Nova, Marine Worlds, 10 out of 10. It even makes this game even higher. Now, I don't know how high you can go past 1, because this is still my favorite game. It was my favorite game before Marine Worlds, and it's still my favorite game even after Marine Worlds. So that's amazing. It's just, you know, Marine Worlds added, obviously, sea life to the game, aquariums, added a few more animals too, of course, which was nice, because you can't go around with adding more animals. And there's still so many animals out there that they could add. In the future, they could make another expansion where they just simply add more animals. That's all we want. We just want more animals. Those of us who like this game, Ark Nova, that's all we really want. We just want more animals. Yes, we will never see every single animal show up in each game of Ark Nova for sure. We will never go through that entire deck. And if we get more animals and more cards, we will never, once again, go through all of those extra ones either. But that's why we love it. Because it's always going to be something different every time you play it. You might get the Komodo Dragon the second time, but you're not going to get the same exact animals you got last time. It's always going to be something different. There's different strategies in this game. Each of the animals is its own unique strategy. You can go the reptile strategy and win. You could go the reptile strategy and lose. Same thing with primates and all the other animals that you can play with in this game. It doesn't matter which strategy you can go for, but there's even more strategies than that the more advanced players know of that I don't care for. Because for me, I don't play Ark Nova to win. I play to build the coolest zoo, whatever that may be. If I win that way, great. If I don't care, because I had fun just building my zoo. And that's all I want to do with this game. You don't necessarily have to like a game just simply to win it. You just want to enjoy playing it, right? And that's all Ark Nova is to me. It's a game that I just want to play just to build a cool zoo. And I want to see other people build their cool zoo. I want to see my opponents. I want to see them build a cool zoo. I'm interested in what animals they put into their zoo. There's just so much to do with this game. It's such an amazing game. Best game I've ever played, and it will probably be on my list, my number 1 list, for years to come. I do not see this going down, ever. So, thank you guys for watching my top 10 most favorite games. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked this video, or if you have watched other videos that I've made that you've enjoyed watching, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to give me a like for this video if you liked my top 10. Of course, if you like Deep Vents, go ahead and shout it out in the comments that you like Deep Vents too, because there's just so few of us that like this game. So it's nice to hear from other people who like Deep Vents, because there's not very many out there that like Deep Vents. Also, if you like Deep Vents and it's in your top 10, even better. I definitely want to know that. Thank you guys for watching this video. And like I said, I hope to see you guys again soon. Like I said, only shared my top 10. And I like other games. So in the future, probably over the next few months, every so often, I'm probably going to share my 5 favorite games that didn't make my top 10 list. Another 5 here, another 5 there, and so on. Just games that I really enjoyed playing that just didn't quite make it to the top 10, but I still really enjoy over the next few months. And who knows, maybe that will change with any potential games I play from now until then. Who knows? Unless I make it to my top 10. Then you'll have to wait till next year. Otherwise, though, thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you guys again soon. It's been a while since I've gotten into a new game, so that's why I wanted to do this video now before I started playing some of the other games I haven't played yet, because who knows, they might change the list. So hopefully we'll get back to making regular how to play videos as I learn more games over the coming weeks. For sure. Hopefully I'll get back on track with normal videos. I hope you guys enjoyed my explanation of obviously Marine Worlds, and we'll get back to the Minecraft Zoo soon. So yeah, because I still have obviously one area left to show you guys at some point. So thank you guys for watching, and if you're still watching, thanks. Bye.